Alright guys, so in this video we're going to create our mailer so that we can actually send an email and also send a request back and have our form update and give us a message. Alright, so I'm in the newsletter subscriber mailer.php file. First thing we're going to do here is check to see if a post request has been sent. Alright, so we can do that pretty easily. We're just going to use the server superglobal. Okay, just like post, server is also a superglobal. And we're going to use request method. And we're going to see if that is equal to post. Okay, if it is, then we want to get the post data. So get the name. And let's sanitize it with strip tags. Okay, and we'll also trim it. And like I showed you in the last video, we can get it with post and then the name, which in this case is name. Okay, we want to get the email. Now I want to filter the email. I want to make sure that it is actually an email. So I'm going to use the filter var function. Alright, and then in here, let's put in trim and then the post value. And then it takes a second parameter. And we're going to say filter sanitize email. Alright, so that'll make sure that it's an actual email. And then the recipient, that's getting sent with the hidden form file, but we get it the same way. And the subject. Okay, so let's do a little server-side validation. Okay, so let's make sure, all I want to do here is just make sure that the name and email are filled out. Alright, so let's say if empty name, or use this filter var again, email, same thing, we're going to use our filter sanitize email. So if either of one of those are true, we want to send an error back to the form. Okay, we can do that with http underscore response underscore code. And we're going to send a 400 error. Alright, and then we're also going to just echo out the error message. So we'll say, please fill out all fields. Alright, and then we're going to exit. So let's test it out so far. Now, we're using the required attribute in our HTML. Okay, if we look at the form, we have this required, so it is being validated on the client side as well. So to actually test that, we're going to have to get rid of that for a second. Alright, and it's good because we will have those two lines of defense. Alright, so let's try to subscribe. And we get please fill out all fields. Now this should have a class of error. So before we go any further, let's go to our style sheet. Oops, that's not it. And let's do class error. We're going to give a color of red. Okay, if it has a class of success, then we'll give it a color of green. Alright, so we'll save that and let's try that again. And now it's red. Okay, if we put in a name, if we put in down here, we fill it in, but it's not an email, we should still get it. Actually, you know what? We're doing that up here, so I'm not even going to include that there. What I do want to do is just make sure that it's included. So we'll say if empty name or empty email. All right. Okay, so now either one, they both have to be filled out. So let's put that other required back on here. And then what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to start to build our message. Or actually build the email. Okay, so we'll say message is equal to name, and then we're going to include whatever's passed in as name, and then we'll do a line break in PHP. And then let's see, we're going to say message. Now we're going to want to append to it. We're not going to want to replace it, so we want to do dot equals. All right, and then here we'll say email, same thing, and we'll do that twice. Okay, now we'll build headers. And you don't have to use this email script if you have a better one. They're all over the place. They're all over the internet. So if you want to use something different to send your email, then that's fine. Just replace this file. Headers, because this is probably the simplest that it's gonna get. So from name, and then we want to put right here, we're going to put our email like that. All right, and then we can send email. So we'll say if mail, we don't want the $sign. If mail, and then we're going to pass in the recipient. We're going to pass in the subject, the message, and the headers. Okay, so if it is sent, or if it's if everything goes through all right, we're not going to actually send an email through here, but we should still get the success. Then we're going to say HTTP _ response code, and we're going to send a 200, which is good, and we'll also echo you are now subscribed. Okay, so now we'll say else. If this mail function fails, then let's copy that. We're going to send along a 500 error, and we're going to say there was a problem. All right. And then we also want to handle if it's not a post request. So let's do an else down here. Because if it's not a post request, we're just going to send a 403 error. Okay, so let's change that to 403. And we'll just say there was a problem. All right, so let's save that. And let's put in test. You are now subscribed. All right. So everything should be all right. If you put it on a live server, it should send the email. And like I said, you can use a different email script. This is very, very simple. And you may want to use a better message and include some other fields or whatever you want to do with it. But yeah, so that's it. Hopefully you guys like the project, and I will see you in the next one.